Hi, 5K families. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to reach out to you today to provide some information, additional information to you about your child's classroom as things have changed this past week with the leaving at Mrs. Hobbs. And I want to share with you who's in the classroom since it is changing a little bit here and there. It's not one sub that'll be in there until Mrs. Cooper comes back. We have a couple. So I wanted to share with you who will be in the classroom when, who those people are, give you a little bit of background information about those teachers, and then talk real briefly about the transition when Mrs. Cooper returns, okay? So, as you learned last week, Mrs. Hobbs needed to leave very unexpectedly for a very serious family emergency. Nothing that we saw coming, literally got a call at 4 o'clock that she could not return. So, it was truly something we were not expecting. At that time, we are gathered all of our sub resources, pulled together who's on our sub list to see which subs would be the most qualified and the best fit for 5K. We are very, very blessed to have a diverse group of subs. Our sub list isn't very long, but we have a nice diverse group of people on that list that can sub in various different grade levels. So the first person that has been in the classroom that your child may be have talked about is a woman by the name of Mrs. Delzell. And she has been in there last week and she's actually in today. She comes to us from the Cedarburg Public School District. She was a 5K teacher in Cedarburg for over 20 years. She retired in 2014, took a couple years off and just enjoyed retirement life, and then wanted to get back into the classroom here and there part-time. So then went into subbing and came to us, and she's been here for the last 3 years. She isn't here very often because her expertise, her preference is the little ones, so 3K, 4K, 5K. So when those teachers are out, she's our first person we call to be in the building. The next teacher who your child probably has been speaking of is Mrs. Kacklemeyer, and she, again, was a full-time teacher in MPS. She was a 5K teacher for 10 years. In 2013, she left teaching to start a family, and then just recently this year, decided to come back into the teaching world, and she approached us as far as wanting to be a sub. She is a Lumen Christi mom. She has a child in our school. So she's very familiar with our school, our community, our vision, our mission, our beliefs, and our values. So she started subbing this year. She's been here very, very often. She's kind of becoming our go-to sub that we call on, and she does a really great job with the kids in the classroom. Then the third teacher her name is Mrs. Schweitzer, and she has been subbing at Lumen Christi for the past 4 years. She is a very unique sub in the fact that she can really do any grade. Most subs have sort of a preference, and Mrs. Schweitzer is fine doing little kids all the way up to the middle school students. She was a in-house building sub in the Cedarburg Public School District for 10 years. And prior to that, she taught first grade, she taught fifth grade, sixth grade, eighth grade as well. So she has this really expansive expertise with just different types of children and different age and different milestones in their life. And she's a wonderful, wonderful, dedicated teacher. So from a scheduling standpoint, here's what the next couple weeks will look like. So every Monday and Wednesday, Mrs. Kacklemeyer has been in the classroom. So that started last week. She was in Monday, yesterday, she'll be in tomorrow, next Monday and Wednesday, and then the following Monday. Mrs. Delzell has been in on the other days, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Mrs. Delzell is a brand new grandma, so she has a new grandbaby that she'll be leaving on Friday. It's in a different state, so she'll be leaving Wisconsin to go spend some time with her new grandchild. So Friday will be her last day here. So then next week, we'll have Mrs. Schweitzer in. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday of next week will be Mrs. Schweitzer. So a little bit of a recap. Tomorrow is Mrs. Kacklemeyer. Wednesday, Thursday, Mrs. Delzell. Next week will be Mrs. Kacklemeyer Monday, Wednesday, and Mrs. Schweitzer Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Mrs. Cooper is so excited to be back. She has been the one preparing the lessons for our subs. She prepared them for Mrs. Hobbs, and she's been preparing them as well for our short-term subs. So the curriculum, what's being taught, it's in alignment with the other 5K class. Mrs. Cooper is working with Ms. Bach, and also in communication with the subs on what's going to be taught and what is being taught. Some things our subs don't do, our short-term subs, is they don't have access to the Bloom's account, and they don't have access to your private emails or your information. So if there is a communication that needs to happen, they'll reach out to me, and then I would get involved and contact you if there would be a problem. But really that sort of daily sort of communication, it does stop when there's a short-term sub in there. So for the next couple of weeks, if something does need to be communicated, it'll either come from myself or Ms. Cooper or Ms. Bach, depending on what the situation is. Mrs. Cooper will be sending you an email today and then a video in the next coming days describing what that transition will look like as far as her return. She was in the building today for a brief time to meet with Ms. Bach and do some planning, some lesson planning on curriculum pieces. Finally, I did want to talk a little bit about Mrs. Pillsbury. She will be coming into the classroom in the afternoon, and that will be starting when Mrs. Cooper returns on the 17th. So she was a 5K teacher for almost 20 years in the Milwaukee Public School District. She left that profession in 2011 to start a family and then returned to teaching in 2016. She was a 3K, 4K teacher at a private school in the Mequon area. And then in 2018, she came to Lumen Christi as our 3K teacher. She has a daughter in the school, and she's very familiar again with our mission, our vision, policies, procedures. So we really have a nice fit for that classroom as far as what our needs are. It's been asked, people have asked some questions over the last couple of weeks, and I feel like we are positioned well to meet the needs of your child. The bulk of your child's day is the morning. Their core content happens in the morning, and then their afternoon is specials. And they have one subject area in the afternoon. So Mrs. Cooper will be talking about those specific pieces. She'll talk about discipline, communication, all of that. But from an employment standpoint, I wanted to just share with you and hopefully put you at ease that we have highly qualified people in the school, highly qualified people with your children. Obviously, this is not the situation we would plan for. We want consistency, but given these unexpected situations that have come to us, I really am confident that we have some really great people in place that at the end of the day, love your children, care for your children, want the best for your children, and will help get them to be their best possible selves.